I didn't really know much of anything about the best friends other than that they were supposed to be a bunch of killers on the east side. And I knew I represented a guy who, at least from what he said and anecdotally, they were always at odds with the best friends. And this guy was a very tough guy, and he's still alive. And I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a very, very tough guy off the east side. So I knew who they were. When 2 or 3 of the Brown brothers were still alive, somebody called me and asked me to represent a guy in a felonious assault case out in Harper Woods, I think. And I was on the way there and had to stop, and I met them. This guy must have been one of the best friends. So that's the first. I didn't know they were called the best friends. I just knew they were some evil-looking guys. The Browns really were. They were tough guys genuinely, and they looked, they had that look when you look at them, you didn't see nothing either, kind of like Campbell. I didn't have anything really more to do with them. I represented Reggie Brown twice.
Oh, you represented Rocket Reggie?
I represented him on an assault with intent to murder that involved, I think it was the same guy I'd represented on the other one, and we won that case. Then I represented him on a homicide case where he killed one person, and the other person he thought he killed, but the guy lived.
The Roussel hit?
Roussel, that's his name, Stephen Roussel.
Can you tell us?
That was White Boy Rick's brand.
Exactly.
Can you tell us about that?
I can just tell you that Roussel lived, and he testified.
No, Roussel died.
Then the other guy lived. You're right, Patrick McLean?
McLean.
Something like that.
What is it that supposedly happened?
Reggie was driving down the street on the east side. He saw that he'd been looking for Roussel. Roussel was driving himself. Reggie Brown started chasing him in the car. Roussel fled in the car, jumped out of the car, ran in the house. The other guy picked
Roussel was sleeping, Pat was sitting.
Then it was whatever the hell it was. Roussel was sleeping? Yeah. Then it was Pat he was chasing. He was chasing somebody. He ran in the house behind the other guy, shot Roussel dead, shot the other guy, thought he was dead, and the guy lived. And I can tell you from experience, not just this case, the hardest case there is when you think you killed somebody and the guy lives and identifies you. It's kind of tough to figure out why would he be pointing the finger at you, if it didn't do it. So he got convicted and Judge Crockett gave him life.
What was Rocket Reggie like in his personal life? Just another client?
He was a very, very tough, dangerous guy, just like his brother. I didn't know the other two, but Boogaloo, same way. They were tough guys, and they were.
Did you wreck Boogaloo?
No, he was dead by the time. When the best friends got indicted in federal court, I represented Thomas Carr.
Who was Thomas Carr?
Just one of their guys.
What was he charged with?
Everything, homicides, everything. I mean, everybody. They had about 45 or 50 dead people in this trial. And
is that the most kind of murderous conspiracy case you're aware of?
Certainly the most dead bodies I've ever had, where they actually charged it and tried to. They only tried to prove, I think, and did prove because the jury found them guilty of them, maybe 7 or 8. But when you would cross-examine the witnesses, well, that was when so-and-so, Walter Daniels, got killed on Gratiot. It would be like your dog ran in front of a car. I mean, it was just talking about murder was like talking about catching a cold.
Didn't they open up on Walter Daniels in the middle of Eastland?
Oh heck, that's the case. That's the case I represent.
Who's Walter Daniels?
He's dead. He was a dope dealer on the east side. That's the case I represented Reggie on, where I won.
Oh, can you tell us?
They were found not guilty. I can't remember. Daniels testified.
Well, talked about how it was in the middle of Eastland.
That's what they said. It was in the middle of Eastland. They were looking for the guy. They found him and they started shooting. I think they were shooting in the mall. Yeah, in the mall itself, not in the store, but yeah, right in the mall. People were going crazy. Yeah. These guys were, they were something. The best friends.
The Brown brothers.
It was one Brown. Well, they were pretty nuts.
So you represented Rocket Reggie he's doing life now, right?
The case he's doing life on, I represent. Now, of course, he's got a concurrent sentence from the federal case too.
The state prison system.
Oh, they put him back in there? I represent him on that Eastland shooting. That was shooting. There were 2 or 3, maybe 2 shooting.
What happened with Thomas Carr?
He got convicted of everything, and then the next thing I heard, he cooperated, and he's out. He got a sentence reduction, and he got a Rule 35, they call it. And he cooperated, and I know he's out. Yeah. So
and when you represent him, he was convicted of life sentence stuff.
Hell yeah, he was convicted of a murder he didn't do. I'm convinced he didn't do it. But the jury, I mean, you got regular people sitting there, and all these dead people, and I mean, it was just an impossible case. Interesting case, but impossible.
What was interesting?
Well, just the cast of characters. They brought in Charles Wilkes, and he admitted to 15 homicides, 12. They gave him like a 15-year cap. He's out.
He was on
Lock your doors and windows. He's out.
the gang on the.
Were they were also involved, there was drug dealing allegedly.
That's what they said, but in all honesty, the case itself, they had money. It sounded like. I think they found some money, and they must have had some drugs involved because, I mean, I know people pay to have people killed, but not the kind of money to support a whole gang. But I never had a drug case that involved anybody that was supposed to be a best friend.
Oh, so
Shooting, it was always shooting.
the best friend's conspiracy case was really just a murder case.
In my opinion, they talked about there were drug counts in there. You know, there were times where they caught a guy with, but I don't remember it ever being kilos. You know, a guy'd have an ounce or something. But yeah, it was a murder case. It was a mass murder case. Is what it was.
So do you? I mean, Rackenridge and his brother and all them. I mean, they almost kind of are beyond being just drug world enforcers. These were.
They were just hired killers, I think. I mean, who knows? You know, who knows? I mean, it's all stems, I think, from the underworld, whether you call it the drug world or
I
whatever.
mean, these guys were hot or maniac. I mean, they probably would have been killing people even outside.
They were just they were cold guys. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where you wonder. I met the father. I met the mother. You just wonder what the.
What were their
yeah.
parents like?
Father worked in the factory his whole life. Mother was regular, normal citizen. It's one of those things where you wonder what the hell was in their oatmeal.
Can you comment on this? What's interesting to me, a lot of these guys, Demetrius sounds like, and what you just said, did not come from super horrible poverty-stricken. I mean, they were black, working or middle class, and the kids became.
I'm a firm believer. Just like when you asked me about trial lawyers and how do people become that. I mean, in the nurture discussion, nurture means something. There's no doubt about it. But nature means more. You know, Kobe Bryant was a great player, whether he was living in Italy or wherever he was. And I think it happens too. I think, you know, the liberal way to look at it is to say that every kid is a good kid. Everybody's salvageable. It's just a matter of their environment. If you put them all in a kibbutz and raise them, you know, like they do in the kibbutzim, then everybody will be a good kid. But that's not true. There's people who get raised in the kibbutz who are shitheads. They're just, you know.
Did Nate Kraft testify? I mean, did you see?
Nathaniel Kraft testified in the best friend's case. He sat up there. You know, he's a huge guy with the bald head, and he really needed to be on TV in one of those detective or police movies because he played the role of the tough guy and the big hitman and the this and that. It was laughable, honestly, to me. He scared the shit out of a couple of the lawyers. I could tell that. But when I read one of his, you know, they give you the interviews, obviously, because you're going to cross-examine him. And when I read that he claimed in one of his interviews that he killed Demetrius Holloway, I knew that he may very well have killed all the people he said he did. But if he told the police that, then he's a liar. And there's nothing he says. I can't take it to the bank or anything. If he made a stupid statement like that.
You know that's.
I knew it 6 hours after the homicide happened. So I certainly knew it by the time I read that.
What did he have to say?
Honestly, I don't remember. He claimed he was a hitman for the best friends, and he killed this guy or he killed that guy. You know, he was, at the time, I think he was making a living going around testifying of all the people he killed, and I did it because this guy. And he was smart. He's a smart guy. He's not stupid at all. And he's cunning, you know, and I got the feeling, honestly, when I say it was like on TV, like he was promoting his book already, that he's going to write sometimes to try to get you guys to sign on to co-sign, as we say in the streets. You know.
Well, he's interesting because in any of these I've found from talking to all, you know, different kind of, I mean, the police have their own truth. Each guy has their own truth. It's very difficult, I'm sure you experience in these cases, what really happened. You really never, it's
I
hard
agree.
to really figure out.
Well, if you're a lawyer and you really, really know what really happened, it means you're too close to the defendants. You just take, the only reason I have that feeling about Nate is literally because of that statement, that claim.
But he must have certainly been involved in some.
Oh, I'm sure. Look, he basically was advertising. If you want someone killed, call me. I mean, that's basically what his testimony was. And it almost was sounding like, although I think he was still locked up then. I mean, he was playing the role. Maybe it is his role. I mean, maybe that is what he is. But I just got the feeling he may be a killer, he may be a tough guy, claimed to be some kind of martial artist, if I'm not mistaken. And he's a huge guy. He may be all of those things, but I felt that he was beyond all that a con man. That's what I thought.
Or in addition to.
That's no, yeah, whatever else he was, but he was a con man, and he was selling a story. And whether 80% of it was true or 20% or 100%, I don't know. I know 100% wasn't
They
true.
kicked him out of witness protection.
Well, that's another story entirely about witness. I mean, a lot of people, street guys, they can't even be on a tether because they can't stay in a house at night. They're like owls. You know, they call me up begging to get off a tether. I said, what the fuck do you have to do between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. that's so goddamn important? Man, it's nighttime. I mean, so I can see why Nate Kraft didn't make it in witness protection. Sammy the Bull didn't make it in witness protection.
What if I told you that the illegal drug business wouldn't be possible without the American government?
Treason against the American people committed by Central Intelligence.
For a meeting with the CIA, and you will have your indictment dismissed in federal court.
The U.S. government cut deals and bestowed favors on brutal dictators, malevolent generals, and murderous gangsters in every corner of the globe.
You're getting emotional again.
You might think it was just a conspiracy theory. You'd be wrong.
Drugs were in the black community. Nobody really cared.
All the heroin was coming from Italian sources, Jewish too.
The African American community has quite a debt to what we would consider a criminal enterprise.
You know, only poor people got the time to make moral judgment.
This is black organized crime.
Yes, yes.
You might think that Timothy Leary's quote to tune in, turn on, and drop out with LSD was meant to change America.
Do you have the feeling of reality when you look at this paper and you hold the pencil in your hand? No. Yes.
But what if LSD was really part of a secret U.S. government mind control program? Turns out that it was.
I give the CIA a total credit for sponsoring and initiating the entire consciousness movement of the 1960s.
Early '65, I decided that I really wanted to make a lot of LSD and give it away.
International drug trafficking was subordinate to the national security interests of the United States.
American Dope. For the first time, the real story of the global drug trade, told by the undercover agents, kingpins, and prosecutors who were there at the very heart of darkness.